Find your comfortable seat so we can kind of check in. And we're going to be starting seated today anyway. So the first thing I want you to do is just find a straight spine, relax your shoulders, relax your jaw, take a deep breath in through your nose, big exhale through your mouth. Just kind of check into your body, notice how everything's feeling. And then start to deepen your breath a little bit, slow it down slightly too. And of course, if you're comfortable with Ujjayi breathing, that's always preferable. And then go ahead and check in with thoughts, emotions, energy. And bring palms together in front of the heart. Let's set our intention for practice today. When you're clear about your intention, take a deep breath in. Big exhale through the mouth. You can just relax your arms, open your eyes if you'd like. So we're going to be working with breathing today. We're all breathing already, yay for that. But we're going to work on deepening our breath and improving our breath, because breath is life. So the better you breathe, the better you live. And that will involve, of course, respiratory muscles. So that kind of gives you an idea of what we're working with today. But I want you to start just kind of getting used to this and more or less finding a baseline. Before we get going, we're going to do a 3-part breath. So it's known as Dirga Pranayam. And even though we know we have 2 lungs, just basically in our chest, we're going to pretend that we have 3 parts to them. We're going to breathe all the way down into the lower abdomen, then into the middle rib cage, then into the upper chest. And when we exhale, we're going to do it in reverse. We're going to empty out the upper chest, then the rib cage, and then the lower abdomen. So you're kind of getting used to that idea, and you're seeing how your body responds to that right out of the gate, okay? So nice straight spine, and this is all through the nose. Just let it be a relaxed, full, deep breath. So as you inhale, inhale deep into your abdomen. Keep breathing in into the middle rib cage. Keep breathing in into the upper chest. And then exhale from the upper chest to the middle rib cage to the lower abdomen. So the last thing you feel is your stomach kind of sinks in as that last little bit of air gets out. Do that 2 more times at your own speed. Lower abdomen, middle rib cage, upper chest, and then exhaling in reverse. And so just as you're finishing out, making a mental note of how that felt, how much air you were able to get in or expel. And then we're just going to kind of start to loosen up a little bit. Really, most of our practice today is going to involve the torso. So we want the whole thing to be open so that we can breathe in all directions. Most people don't think about breathing in all directions, but if you look at a newborn baby, they're phenomenal breathers. They haven't tightened up or stiffened up yet, and they do breathe completely 3-dimensionally. So that's kind of what we're trying to work our way back to. So the first thing I want you to do is just put your hands on your knees or thighs, and you're just going to do a seated cat-cow. You're going to inhale and push your rib cage forward, and exhale and pull the rib cage back. Inhale, press it forward. Exhale, pull it back. Do that 2 more times. Do it at your own speed. And then just come back to neutral. Now we're going to push our rib cage side to side. You can go whichever side you want. I like to coordinate it with breathing. You don't have to. You can just kind of push the rib cage one way as you inhale and the opposite way as you exhale. And again, you don't have to do it that way. Just kind of side to side. Do it a couple more times each side. Just loosening things up. And then pause, and we're going to put all of that together and do rib cage circles now. So if you push your rib cage forward to the side and back into the other side, you'll get a circle. I want you to do 3 or 4 in each direction, whatever feels really good. Just make sure that you do go both directions. And as you finish out, just pause, make sure the spine is straight and the shoulders are relaxed. And then we're just gonna do a seated side bend. You guys have done this with me a million times before, and I'm not gonna mirror you. So I'm gonna put my right hand on the ground. That's that way for you guys. Slide the right hand out as far as it will go. Keep the left hip really grounded. Relax the neck. Then I want you to extend your left arm as straight as you can get it. Then bring it up and overhead. So you don't want that drapey, beautiful ballet arm. You want a really strong, energized, straight left arm reaching. If you want to deepen the stretch, you bend the right elbow, the elbow of the arm that's on the ground. You keep pushing your left hip into the floor, reaching through left fingertips, and you breathe as though you could send all of your air to your left lung. You should feel your skin stretching, your muscles stretching, your ribs separating, and then just coming up and we'll go the other way. Put your left hand on the floor, slide it out. Make sure you keep that right hip really firmly planted. Relax your neck. Fully extend your right arm. Lots of energy in it as you reach it up and overhead, reaching through those fingertips, reaching the right hip to the ground. If you want to deepen the stretch, left elbow bends. And then you just imagine that you're sending all of your air into your right lung. Feel skin, muscles, how elastic they are. Feel ribs expanding. And then come on up. Roll your shoulders back a little bit. And I'm going to have you go straight into downward facing dog. So plant your hands, just step your feet back, wake up your calves a little bit if you need to. And then find some stillness. And I want you to just pause for a moment and focus on space, openness, the entire torso. You should feel lots of space on the back so you're not squeezing your shoulder blades together. Lots of space on the chest. Lots of length in the spine, which means you've got space at your waist and in the abdomen and in the low back. And then go ahead and walk your feet forward, keeping your knees bent, coming into your ragdoll. Take a couple breaths here, just lengthening the spine. On your next inhale, come all the way up, reach the arms up and overhead. Exhale, palms together in front of the heart. Inhale, reach your arms up, just stretch up, lift your rib cage up, hold that for a moment. And then as much as you comfortably can, comfortable being the key word, you're gonna lift the rib cage a little more and slightly roll it back. It doesn't have to be a big arch, it's just the upper back, never at the expense of the low back. Hold up for one more breath. And then come back up and exhale, palms together in front of the heart. So we're going to kind of do a standing side bend now, and we're going to do it 2 different ways. We're going to kind of work our way into it. So if you feel less stable, you can have hip distance with your feet. If you are more stable, feet together. The first thing we're going to do is just put left hand on left thigh. Again, I'm not mirroring you. I apologize. You're going that way. Right arm is going to reach straight up. Again, lots of energy. And then you're simply going to slide your left hand down your left thigh. Now, I've got us doing it this way first because if you're like me and you have idiosyncrasies with your body, rather than staying really lateral, my body sometimes likes to twist or roll or hips go forward. I want you to imagine that you are against a wall and that you're keeping both shoulder blades and both hips on the wall. Take one more breath
It'll be helpful in a moment. Come on back up. And then just transition right hand to right thigh, left arm up. Really reach it up. Lots of energy. Same thing, slide your right hand down your right thigh. And focus on being really lateral. So our bodies are masters at staying out of intensity. And sometimes we want the intensity and we kind of have to override that. So if your body's like mine and it tries to cheat, don't let it. Come all the way back up, relax your left arm, roll your shoulders back. Good. So now we're going to interlace the fingers and extend the index fingers up. I want you to reach straight up with your arms. Don't do the little diamond shape. Really reach up if your shoulders can handle it. Now we're going to lean to the left first. And so as you're leaning, you're really pushing through your right foot and reaching through those fingers. And this is where you want to have that sensory memory of the last side bend we did. Try and keep your body truly lateral. You should feel a big stretch on the right side of the body. And then inhale back up. And as you exhale, go the other way. So you should be leaning to your right. Really pushing through left foot. Feeling left side of the body. Opening. And then come on back up, palms together in front of the heart. Inhale, reach your arms up, stretch up, and maybe back a little bit and then hold it. So I want you to keep lifting your rib cage up, roll it back. This is just like what we just did a moment ago. But maybe slightly tilt the pelvis back. That's tucking the tailbone under. Maybe lift the heart a little bit more. So what we're trying to achieve is as much space as possible between the pubic bone and the throat. And then on your next exhale, go ahead and fold forward, and I want you to hold it. Take your time trying to get your pelvis to tip forward now. Torso to thighs. Neck can be totally relaxed. And I want you to focus on feeling lots of openness on the back side of your body now, kind of from your tailbone to the base of the skull. And then go ahead and look up and lengthen and back down. Step back with your left foot. Hold your lunge for a moment. And then we're going to drop the left knee down. Bring the arms up and overhead. Tilt your pelvis back, lift the chest. Let the hips move forward. Lift the chest, maybe roll it back a little bit. So lots of space on the left side of the front of your torso. Now we're going to do kind of a weird transition here. So be mindful, take your time with it. What I'm going to have you do is just bring your left foot kind of behind you, which would be the opposite direction. Extend your right leg. We're coming just into locked gait. Right hand on right thigh, left arm up and over. So if you were facing forward, you are now facing the left side of your mat. And we'll come out of it the same way, nice and slow. Just bring your left foot back onto the mat. Right leg can extend, and you're going to lean out over it. So we're just getting into our hamstring now. And then from here, we'll take that right knee back to meet the left knee. Wag your tail a moment. And go ahead and take child's pose. And if you can do a traditional child's pose, that would be preferable today because we really want to round the back and get as much space between tailbone and the back of the neck as possible. From here, we'll scoot forward into Sphinx. So just take a breath or two to lengthen out your low back here, just like we always do with the glutes relaxed. And depending upon your body, this might actually be it. But for those of you who can, go ahead and bring the hands back a little bit
kind of under the shoulders or closer to the rib cage, and lift a tiny bit higher for cobra. Again, lifting the heart, trying to get lots of space on the front side of the body. And then go ahead and turn your toes under, downward facing dog. And let's come back to that idea of maximum space in the torso. Left foot's gonna step forward now. Hold your lunge. And then go ahead and drop your right knee down. Let's take the arms up and overhead. Pelvis tilts back, rib cage lifts, and then as much as you can, you're just kind of rolling the rib cage back. This doesn't have to be a big movement. We just want to feel as much space on the right front side of the torso as possible here. So it's that weird transition again. Just your right foot's going to kind of kick behind you. Left leg extends, left hand on the thigh, right arm reaches up and over. So you're just coming into that locked gate posture. And the way we come out of that is we just come up and take the right foot behind us, lean out over your left leg. Just stretching out that hamstring. From here, go ahead and step forward to your standing forward bend. Inhale, reach your arms all the way up and overhead. And exhale, palms together in front of your heart. So go ahead and step your left leg back and adjust your feet however you need to come into warrior one. You want your right knee bent, you want your left leg straight. We're going to start with the arms up and overhead, and ideally you've got your hips pointing forward. Just take a moment here, really pushing through your left heel, lifting up through the rib cage, maybe rolling it back a little bit, and then let your arms open out to the side with the palms up and reach them back a little bit. So now you're getting some really nice chest opening. Flip the palms down and bring them in front of you, coming back up to a nice vertical torso. Take your right arm on bottom and your left arm on top and wrap them. So if the palms of the hands come together, great. And if they don't, just let the backs of the hands face each other. Pull your shoulders down, lift your elbows up a little and push them forward. You should feel a lot of space between the shoulder blades. So now we're opening up the upper back. Take a couple of breaths here. If you are able, we'll finish off the pose. We're just going to take the left thigh really tightly over the right. Drop that tailbone a little bit. If you can, unwind your left leg, put it right back where you got it. Unwind the arms, reach them up and overhead. From here, we're going to take the hands down, step straight back to downward facing dog. Remember, maximum space. And then go ahead and walk your feet forward to a standing forward bend. Inhale, reach the arms all the way up and overhead. Exhale, palms together in front of the heart. Now we're going to step back with the right foot, coming into our warrior one with the left foot forward. Adjust your hips, adjust your feet. Arms are up and overhead. And you want to just lift your rib cage and slightly roll it back. Push through the right heel. Then let those arms fall open to the side, palms facing up, maybe even reaching the arms back a little more, stretching open the chest. Then we're going to flip the palms down,
Bring them back in front of us. This time it's left arm on bottom, right arm on top. Wrap as best you can. Shoulders pull down, elbows lift up and push forward. You're going to breathe into that space between your shoulder blades, opening up the upper back. And then if you can, let's finish off the pose. Take your right thigh all the way over your left. Tailbone drops. If you can, unwind your right leg, step it all the way back. Warrior one, arms are up and overhead. Chest lifts and rolls back a little bit. And then we're going to take our hands to the mat and go to downward facing dog again. Stretch and lengthen. Those of you doing vinyasanas, off you go. The rest of us are going to drop to our knees and take child's pose. And then either scoot into Sphinx or Cobra. Either one is fine. Just focus on space on the front of your body. And then, of course, as we go to downward facing dog, we're trying to get maximum space and length. Drop down to your knees here. So we're going to do our little half part opener and transition that straight into threading the needle. So what I'd like you to do is take your left arm across the front of the mat. Your forehead rests on it. Your right arm reaches forward. Your tailbone reaches back. And that right armpit's kind of sinking down towards the mat. So you're feeling a stretch on the right side of your chest and your right armpit. We're going to stretch out the back side of the right arm. So if you'll just come back up onto your left hand and take your right arm underneath you, you can press with your left arm to kind of roll into the back of that right shoulder blade. So pose and counter pose. But in this case, it's all moving towards the same goal, which is opening up and making more pliable our respiratory muscles. Come back out of that, hands and knees. You can wag if you need to. Right forearm across the front of the mat. Left arm reaches forward. Forehead is on the right forearm. You're trying to pull the tailbone back, reach the left arm forward, and take that left armpit towards the mat. And then we're just going to come up onto the right hand so that we can take our left arm underneath us and just press with that right arm and roll into that left shoulder blade. Come on out of that and give yourself a little tail wag. Toes turn under, tailbone up and back, stretch. Create space. Walk your feet forward to a standing forward bend. Inhale, reach the arms all the way up and overhead. Exhale, palms together in front of the heart. So now we're going to turn sideways. Take a nice wide side step. So we're going to be using a wide-legged forward bend to do a side bend. This is a side stretch, okay? So it might seem a little bit weird at first, but you can adjust your feet to whatever distance you need them so that you'll be able to grab something on one of your legs. This is going to be very important. So here's the deal. We're just going to go ahead and hinge at our hips and fold forward. Take a breath or two to let your body adapt to the wide leg forward fold. Then you're going to walk your hands over towards your right leg. So it depends on your body. If you can grab your right foot, great. If not, grab your calf or even your thigh, but you have to hang on to something because I want you to take your left rib cage and very strongly
pull it back towards your left thigh. You're trying to make a C shape with your body. You're trying to push that left rib cage out. You gotta hang on to that right leg so that you have something to pull against, right? You should feel a lot of stretch on the left side of your torso. Now we'll go the other way. Walk your hands over towards your left foot. It can be your ankle, your calf, even your thigh, but hang on. Don't lean over the left leg. Hang on to it and pull your body back towards the right leg. You're trying to get your right rib cage to move back towards your right thigh. You're making a C shape with your body. Lots of stretch on the right side of the torso. And then come back to the center. You can just toe heel the feet in. Come all the way up to standing. Arms are up and overhead. And as you exhale, come back to the front of the mat. Feet together, palms together. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, look up halfway. Exhale, back down. I want you to move back onto your hands and knees. Wag your tail a little bit. And then come up to kneeling. So just to keep opening the front of the torso, respiratory muscles, we're gonna do a half camel, but we're not gonna go for the full thing. Don't even worry about the foot grab. I really want you to feel it in the upper part of the chest. So I want you to put your hands at your sacrum or your low back, push your hips forward, lift your chest and start to reach the chest back. The first thing I want you to focus on is feeling stretch, like from your pubic bone to the bottom of the rib cage. Start there. And then when you get that, keep your left hand on your back and just reach your right hand behind you, palm up until you start to feel everything on the front of the right side of your torso stretching, and then use your breath. So we're not trying to dump into the low back. We really just want to open the front side of the torso. Come back up, put your right hand on your right hip. Left arm reaches back. So find that sensation of stretch and elasticity from pubic bone, basically to your left armpit. As you come up from that, untuck your toes if they were tucked. I want you to come into full child's pose, forehead down, hands, palms up by your feet. Really breathe into your low back. Try and feel that space from your tailbone to the base of your neck. Now, stay in child's pose, but go ahead and make it an extended child's pose, taking your arms out in front of you. Small little movement to the right. You walk your hands over a little bit. Yet again, we make a C shape. Push your left rib cage to the left. And then just a couple of small steps to the left with your arms as your rib cage moves to the right. Come back to center and go into downward facing dog. Press up and back, stretch. Maximum length in the spine. So the sides of your waist should feel lengthened. The sides of the rib cage up into the armpits should feel lengthened. Low, mid, and upper back feel spacious. Abdomen, stomach, and chest should feel spacious. From this downward facing dog, walk your feet forward and have a seat in Dandasana. Go ahead and have hands by your backside today, straight spine, flexed feet. So just take a moment, do your regular check-in with your body, your breath, your mind, your heart, your energy, all of those good things. And then I want you to maintain your straight spine. So we're also going to do a midpoint check-in with that
3-part breath, Dirga Pranayama. I want you to breathe in really slowly into your lower abdomen, middle rib cage, upper chest, and then reverse it. Release from the upper chest, middle rib cage, lower abdomen, getting as much residual air out as you can. Do that 2 more times at your own breath rate. As you finish your third 3-part breath, you can keep your right leg straight, bring your left foot to the inside of the right thigh. Go ahead and just lean out over that right leg, however it feels good to you. Now, wherever your right hand is probably the perfect place for it. So whether it's your shin or your foot, it's fine. Hang on to whatever you've got your right hand on, but raise back up and reach your left arm behind you. So what you're basically doing is lining your torso up with your right thigh. Then you're gonna start bending your right elbow, side bending to the right, as though you were gonna put your right armpit on your right knee. Relax the neck. Now that super straight left arm is going to reach up and over your head, parallel to the ground. Lots of energy through the left arm. You're pushing your left hip into the mat. You're really feeling a magnificent stretch on the left side of your torso. Breathe into it, expand. In this position, you should be able to expand left armpit, left rib cage, left side of the waist, maybe even the left hip. Now let that left hand come down and grab whatever your right hand was grabbing. Bring your right hand by your right hip on the floor. Your left arm, even if it's the tiniest amount, your elbow must bend. So pull with your left arm, but not a straight arm. Bend your left elbow. Then with the right hand that's on the ground, you're gonna push and twist and look over right shoulder. You may need to fine tune this, but you should feel a really nice stretch on the whole back side of the left side of your torso. So particularly behind that left shoulder blade, maybe left side of the waist. And then come on up from that. Extend your left leg out. Roll your shoulders a couple of times. We'll keep left leg straight. Bring right foot to the inside of the left thigh. Go ahead and lean out over your left leg. So just like we did on that first side, you're going to keep your left hand wherever it is. Usually it's placed perfectly. Lift your torso up and take your right arm behind you. So you're basically rotating open to the right. Then you're going to start side bending to the left, as though you were going to put your left armpit on your left knee. Reach that straight right arm up and over your head, parallel to the ground. So you're really reaching through the right fingertips, pressing your right hip into the floor, and taking those deep breaths into the right side of your torso so that you can feel armpit, rib cage, and even the waist opening up with every inhale. Let that right hand just float down and find whatever it needs to find on the left foot or leg. Left hand comes by your left hip. Remember, you must bend your right elbow. So you're pulling with your right hand, but you've got to have, even if it's a micro bend, there must be a bend in the right elbow. Then we push with the left hand and look over the left shoulder. And we kind of fine tune it and finesse it until we feel
A really great stretch behind the right shoulder blade, maybe even right side of the waist. Remember to breathe deeply into any stretch that you feel. Come on up from that, extend your right leg out. Give it a good wiggle. And then we're just gonna lean out over both legs. You can do that flat backed or rounded backed, whatever feels best to you. But again, think about space from your tailbone to the base of your neck. And then slowly come on up from that. You can give your legs a little bit of a wiggle. Then we're gonna go ahead and roll onto our backs, hugging the knees in, giving ourselves a nice little side to side rock. So it depends upon your body and what's best for your body. We're all gonna do bridge pose. And then some of you will do bridge pose again, and some of you will do plow pose. So if you can do plow, which is the one with your legs all the way up and over your head, like you're trying to touch the floor, then we'll do that second. It's a lovely pose and counter pose, or front body opener, back body opener. But if you have neck or shoulder issues, plow might not be a good idea. So if it's not, you'll simply repeat bridge, and that'll be fine, but you'll get a rest in between. So here we go to open up the whole front side of the torso. However, when you get there, you're going to be breathing really deep, that 3-part breath. So let's get big toes touching, heels separated, feet flat on the mat. Lift your hips, lift your chest. Really feel that openness between pubic bone and base of throat. And then I want you to do 3 of those 3-part breaths. As you in the end of your 3rd, exhale, lower down. Just pause for a moment with your feet still flat on the mat. So if you need to repeat bridge pose, I would like for you to do exactly the same thing and do those 3-part breaths, filling your body from the lower abdomen to the middle rib cage to the upper chest, and then exhaling in reverse. If you can do plow pose, we're going to be doing that same breath, but to the back. Now, here's the deal on plow. If your feet touch the floor, you can let go of your hips. But if your feet are not firmly on the floor over your head, please keep your hands on your hips, please. It will help you get there eventually, and it'll also protect you. So either repeating bridge or taking feet up and overhead. Maybe they touch the floor, maybe they don't. It's unimportant. But you should feel a big stretch on your back. Now you're trying to open from the tailbone to the base of your neck. And I want you to do the same 3-part breath. But now we're breathing into the low back, the mid back, and the upper back, and exhaling in reverse. And as you end out that last exhale, whichever pose you're in, come on down, hug your knees in, rock side to side. So we're going to do a spinal twist, but we're going to do it so that we maintain maximum length in the spine, equal length on both sides of the spine, maximum space in the torso. So here's what I'd like you to do. Put your feet flat, just like you did for bridge. Lift your bum up, just like you did for bridge, but it doesn't have to be as high. Push your hips to the right side of the mat and then put them back down. So right now you're all crooked. That's good. Stay like that. Keep your knees bent. Pick your feet up off the floor and drop them to the left and let your right arm open out to the right. So just check in with your body right now and notice what you feel. You should feel equal length on both sides of the spine. All that's happening is the rotation. You've got lots of space everywhere in your torso. If you could see yourself from above, your spine would be perfectly parallel to the long sides of the mat. And so you just breathe, and you breathe in such a way that you try and maximize the amount of air coming into your lungs, and you breathe out in such a way that you're trying to eliminate as much of that residual air as possible. Couple more breaths here. Focus on your breathing. So on your next inhale, bring your legs back up and put your feet in the middle of the mat. So you feel crooked again, right? Well, we're gonna stay crooked, but we're gonna go the other way. So lift your hips up, swing them over to the left side of the mat. You're putting your bum down on the left side of the mat, so now you're crooked in the opposite direction. Lift your knees back up in the air, and now you're dropping them to the right. Left arm is opening out to the left, your head is turning to the left. And so yet again, if you check in with your body, you should not feel like one side of the waist is, squeezed up or compressed. You should feel very long on both sides of your spine. You're simply rotated and you're trying to maximize your breath here. So come back to focusing on the breath. Couple more breaths on this side. And then on your next inhale, you're gonna bring your legs back up and put your feet on the mat. So you're still crooked, so let's get straightened out. Lift your hips up, move them back to the center. Make sure you're back where you feel comfortable on your mat. Hug your knees in and rock side to side. From here, go ahead and reach down, grab the outside edges of the feet. You can start your happy babying, just exploring. So you've been working on respiratory muscles, but the cool thing is when we breathe better, everything is better, right? You've been bringing in more oxygen. You've been bringing in more prana or life force. So just kind of check it out, see how the hips are feeling. When you feel like you're ready, I'm going to have you put your feet flat on the mat, drop the knees open, and let the soles of the feet come together. So just pause for a moment here. What I want you to do is in this position, which is just reclined bound angle, I want you one more time before Shavasana. We're going to do that 3-part breath. So it's a little different when you're lying flat on your back. So I want you to really focus. We're going to do 3 of them. I want you to really focus on feeling your lower abdomen distend. Feeling that middle rib cage expanding, feeling the collarbone lifting as you're inhaling, and then feeling the collarbone sink as you exhale. Rib cage contracts, the navel pulls in towards the spine at the end of the exhale. As you finish out the breath that you're on right now, just relax your breathing again. And now let's go ahead and lengthen the low back. So the next time you inhale, flatten your low back, press your back into the floor. So it's a backward or posterior tilt of the pelvis. You're just holding that. When you're ready, exhale and release it and begin to extend your legs. Separate the feet. Wiggle anything you need to wiggle, and then find stillness. So we really want to come to complete stillness in our Shavasana. We want to be so supremely comfortable that we have no desire to move. Everything's relaxed. Your breath is responding to the relaxation response of your body. So the body and the breath and the emotions are all inextricably linked. We know that if we feel anxious or afraid, our breathing becomes quite rapid and shallow. And we know that when we're really happy and content and calm, our breath is really slow, quite gentle. Right now, your breath should be the latter. It should be quite slow and gentle. And so what's great about this interconnectedness of the body and the breath and the emotions is that it works in reverse. Regardless of how you're feeling, if you make your breath even and slow and gentle, you will calm down. So what I'd like you to do is just really focus on feeling your breath, being mindful of your breath, not changing it or controlling it, but just being very tuned into your breathing right now. You'll feel slight movement in the torso, but it shouldn't be extreme. You might be aware of emotions. You might be aware of your body. And just stay focused on your breathing. So our breath infuses us with the oxygen that every cell needs to thrive. It also infuses us with prana, which is life force. It's that same animating force that flows in every single one of us. It's enhanced by the breath. So truly, the better you breathe, the better you live. And we all want to live better. Whatever time we have, we want it to be lived to its fullest. So we want to be able to breathe to our fullest. So start to notice now, without any movement, stay still. Just notice how your body feels now
having had this practice that was really breath-centered, designed to not only make the respiratory muscles more pliable, but to also strengthen them. And in doing so, you've infused yourself with more of the things that make you alive. So notice how your body feels. You can start to breathe a little deeper. Now you can start to move your fingers and toes. Take a deeper breath in, spread your fingers and toes. Exhale through your mouth, relax them. Even deeper breath in and just stretch, stretch, stretch out, and then exhale, relax. Bend your knees, roll to your right side, and then press yourself up into sitting with a nice straight spine. So once you've found that nice straight spine, we're just going to play with moving the breath around a little bit. I want you to imagine that you can breathe into just the upper left quadrant of your lung. So think of it as kind of breathing up into your left shoulder, upper part of the left side of the chest. Only breathing there. See if you can feel that. And then try and breathe into just the lower left quadrant. So it's kind of like down around the bottom of the left side of your rib cage. Only there, as though that's the only place that you can expand with your breath. Then try and expand the entire left side of your torso with your breath. Just the left side. Just focus on that sensation of just breathing everything you've got to the left side of the torso. And now we're going to completely switch to the right, just the right upper quadrant, just around that right upper shoulder, right side of the chest. Transition that to the right lower quadrant, so around the bottom part of your right side of your rib cage. Only there. That's the only place I want you to send breath. Channel it all right there. And then breathe into the entire right side of your torso, just the right side. Now I want you to breathe into all four quadrants, the entire torso, if you can. Do that a couple of times. And then just relax. Soften your breath for a moment. Roll your shoulders back. So now we're going to put everything together. It's all about the breath. I've had you doing a 3-part breath. You've just played with moving breath around. We're going to put it all together and we're going to breathe everywhere that we possibly can. So we're going to breathe into any place that will take more air until we're absolutely positively full. I'm going to kind of coach you through it, but you might find other places. You might try putting more air into an armpit or between the shoulder blades, etc. But we're going to try and maximize our breath. So I'm sorry, the cat is apparently very infused with prana and he's loving on the tripod now. That's why it's shifting. My apologies. So nice straight spine. I want you to just breathe into your lower abdomen, breathe into your middle rib cage, breathe into your upper chest. Now breathe towards your back. Breathe into the sides of the rib cage, up into the armpits. Breathe into the notch in your collarbone and exhale very, very slowly, getting all of the air out until you can pull your navel in. 2 more times at your own speed. You're simply breathing in everywhere that you possibly can in your torso. And when you think you're full, just relax and tuck even more air in, and then exhale as slowly as possible. One more time. And as you finish out, just relax. Pause for a moment and notice how you feel. So when you can learn to move your breath around, it can have really kind of profound implications. It can be helpful when we're managing pain. It can be helpful when we're trying to channel our focus. It can be helpful when we're simply trying to re-energize our bodies, but remain in a calm state, mentally and emotionally. So practice this kind of 3-dimensional spherical breath, maybe at least a couple more times today, so that you've kind of got that as one of those tools in your toolbox to use, because really breathing, obviously, is everything. So let's go ahead and bring our palms together in front of our hearts. Take a moment in gratitude. Gratitude for this breath. We wouldn't be here without it. Gratitude for every breath we've ever breathed before this one. Much gratitude for any other breaths that we have coming to us. And then just take one more deep inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Palms to the forehead, just reminding us to be present. Palms to the lips, reminding us to speak our truth. And palms to the heart, reminding us to keep our hearts open, to always practice kindness, compassion, and unconditional love. Thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you for sharing breath with me today. Namaste.